thank you ever so much for joining us and providing us that insight. We will, of course, be across all of the developments in the ongoing trade disputes with the US and their trading partners. We now bring you some breaking news, and major diplomatic activity is set to unfold here in New Delhi. US Vice President J.D. Vance and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz are expected to visit India this month. In what's being seen as a key moment in India-U.S. ties, Waltz will meet his counterpart Ajit Doval to push forward the Trust Initiative. Vance's visit overlaps but is separate. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is likely to travel to Saudi Arabia on April the 22nd, leaving a narrow window for high-level meetings. Moving on, and the United States and Iran are heading into critical nuclear talks this weekend, with tensions running high. Iran says it's ready for a real and fair deal. Its foreign minister is in Oman, fully authorised to negotiate, but the US is drawing hard lines. President Trump says Iran cannot get a nuclear weapon and warns there will be all hell to pay if diplomacy fails.
Only that. I want them not to have a nuclear weapon. I want Iran to be a wonderful, great, happy country, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. And we're negotiating with them. On Saturday, we have a big meeting.
Tomorrow, there will be negotiations between the United States and Iran in Oman. What are the president's chief goals for that, and is he satisfied with how Iran is responding to this? They don't want direct face-to-face negotiations, instead sort of old-school shuttle diplomacy where they're in separate rooms and messages are passed back and forth. So is the president comfortable with the arrangement there, and what is the chief objective?
Well, I have spoken to both the president and also his national security team who will be engaged in these discussions. These will be direct talks with the Iranians, and I want to make that very clear. I also spoke to the president just last night about his goal when it comes to Iran, and he has reiterated repeatedly to all of you publicly and also privately to his team here at the White House, his ultimate goal and the ultimate objective is to ensure that Iran can never obtain a nuclear weapon. The president believes in diplomacy, direct talks, talking directly in the same room in order to achieve that goal. But he's made it very clear to the Iranians, and his national security team will as well, that all options are on the table, and Iran has a choice to make. You can agree to President Trump's demand, or there will be all hell to pay. And that's how the president feels. He feels very strongly about it.
Well, US Envoy Steve Witkoff will meet with Iran's delegation shortly, with Oman's foreign minister playing the mediator. Witkoff hinted at some flexibility, saying the US is open to compromise, but not on weaponization.
Well, I have spoken to both the president and also his national security team who will be engaged in these discussions. These will be direct talks with the Iranians.
Iran's supreme leader received a personal letter from Trump weeks ago calling for diplomacy, but with a veiled military warning. Trump has revived his maximum pressure strategy, aiming to choke Iran's oil exports. He says Iran now has a choice: make a deal or face serious consequences. Staying with US President Donald Trump, he has urged Russia to get moving on ending the war in Ukraine, calling the conflict senseless and saying it should have never happened. His remarks come just before his envoy Steve Witkoff concluded a high-stakes 4-hour meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in St. Petersburg. The Kremlin confirmed that the talks focused on terms of a potential Ukrainian settlement, but no breakthrough was announced. Trump has expressed growing frustration with Moscow's delays, warning of possible secondary sanctions on Russian oil buyers. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited the sites of a recent Russian missile strike in his hometown of Kryvyi. The April 4th attack killed 19 people, including 9 children, making it one of the deadliest strikes on civilians in over a year. Zelensky placed flowers and a teddy bear at the site, vowing to boost regional air defences amid continued Russian attacks. He also visited a local military hospital, presenting soldiers with medals. While this was going on, there has been no breakthrough in the US-Ukraine minerals talks as tensions flared over a Trump-era proposal. The US seeks privileged access to Ukraine's mineral wealth, requiring joint controls of profits. Kyiv pushed back, especially as the draft excludes security guarantees, which is President Zelensky's key demand amid the ongoing war with Russian forces. Moving on, and the United Nations has confirmed that